Welcome to the Rising Phoenix show, not the comedy hour with bad comedians.
Same thing.
And I'm Sandy Corrigan. I'm one of your hosts with my husband,
Tom Corrigan.
And our amazing leader of leaders, Mr. Chuck Blakeman.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. And I'd like to see if I can take over the screen here with
He
a...
always interrupts anything we do, so I just pause here because he's always got something to make us laugh.
Yeah, so we're going to interrupt this regularly scheduled program. We already did that one. We're not going to do that one. I had it all set up. Here we go. Let's try that again. You got to punch the right buttons. Technology only respond. The real emergency is going to be in 20 years. When all these kids are adults running the world with a homeschool education brought to them by day drinking.
Yes. Yeah.
Really
Long-term impact.
The long-term impact. Okay, whoever did this, you are legend. Isn't that awesome? My precious. My precious.
Oh my gosh.
Holy coronavirus. We need toilet paper. It's a respiratory virus, not Chipotle.
Ah.
Get a grip, bat guy, bat boy. And I like this one. This is a tweet. Day 2 without sports. Found a young lady sitting on my couch yesterday. Apparently she's my wife. She seems nice.
Yeah, my brother posted that and I called my sister-in-law and said, should I slap him for you? But my favorite one is the meme that says, you know how you get on your Facebook message, somebody sends you like, you're going to be blessed. But all you have to do is send this to 10 people or you're going to be cursed. You know, those, I never forward those, so don't send them to me.
Yeah.
And so my favorite meme this whole time has been, I just know all of this is happening because I did not copy and paste and post to my 10 friends.
Yeah. See, it came true. I don't think so.
And I do like one other one that says, you know, this big caution sign, do not enter. All my girlfriends will relate to this unless you're Tom Cruise, Kevin Costner, George Clooney, you know, the list of all the attractive men, celebrities, and sports figures that can enter. That was kind of funny too.
All right, so that's my interruption for the day. Welcome to it.
So, Chuck, let's see. Hold on a minute.
But wait, there's more.
Okay, hold on.
We're having technical
We had a
difficulties.
technical difficulty, so there you go, Tom. We couldn't pull up our outline for the day and we wanted to get it right, so instead of just continue to make stuff up here. But it's a bad plan carried out violently is what we say.
That's
right.
That's what you can expect to happen this morning. You can hear some visionary and inspirational ideas. We're going to have 2 or 3 people, one from here in the States and one internationally, talk about their building, their business shifting. Hang on for that. Then we're going to get into what we call a bottleneck segment, where 1 or 2 or more of you can jump in and go, I have a challenge, opportunity, or problem I need wisdom of the crowds for. I need some help. And we as a group will be able to help those people. So it could be you. So if you want to get involved in that, you can raise your hand by just getting on the chat box and saying, hey, I'm in. And we'll have a little bit of an update from Chuck Blakeman, and then we go out with what we call BFO, blinding flash of the obvious. That's a big aha for today. Something I can use to change, my thinking, my action, my behavior. And then a note about the power of community. Back to you.
So some of you might be new to us, and we love that you're here this morning. We love that all of you came back, and we really hope you'll help us create a movement by every single Monday morning, inviting your small business owner friends or people that may want to start a business or need some encouragement. It's just a great way to start the Monday morning, and it sets the tone for the whole week. So we call this the Rising Phoenix Business Community because just like that mythical bird, the phoenix, who every 100 years settles into a nest of kindling, willingly ready to burn up all the things that need to go to emerge a new creation, something new and amazing and better. And so I don't know about you guys, but I feel like a bunch of stuff has to die off and is dying off and is going away. And so every day I'm practicing the perspective that says, just see what I'm going to look like as that new bird flying. And so we want to encourage you to take that perspective, to look at everything that's happening as a great lessons, a great gift, a great opportunity to be better at what you do and to live well by doing good.
I want to share a quick story that I discovered recently that really encouraged me. And the question is, do you recognize Harlan David Sanders? Some of you might, some of you might not.
So we also know him as
How about the Colonel?
the Colonel.
Yeah.
Colonel Sanders. The story of Colonel Sanders is one of my favorite stories of a person who turned a string of failures into success, because we don't really hear much about his life prior to Kentucky Fried Chicken, but it's because his success franchising Kentucky Fried Chicken, the secret recipe, which made him a millionaire, didn't happen until he was 62 years of age. Showing massive success isn't limited to the young and can occur at any time in your life. And so this is really a celebration of tenacity and stick with itness and a willingness to get up, brush ourselves off, and move forward again, which is where some of us are today. Before Sanders found success with his recipe, he had multiple other failed careers, including as a lawyer and a salesperson.
That's because of his outfit.
He tried selling various wares, including lamps, insurance, and tires. I mean, this guy was all over the place. But what most incredible about Sanders' story is that he reportedly failed over 1,000 times to sell his chicken recipe. Now, he had a couple of chicken stores that were somewhat successful, but he was trying to get it franchised. It wasn't until he got to his 1,010th time in trying to sell the recipe that he got someone to bite, and the rest is history. Had Sanders decided to give up after hearing his 10th, 100th, or 1,000th no, the fast food industry would be a very different landscape today. And by the way, at the end of last year, KFC, as it's known, had 22,621 locations globally in 136 countries. And he didn't get any of this until he was well into his 60s.
That's a lot of chicken.
That's a whole bunch of chicken.
That's a lot of persistence. Very cool.
So Chuck, don't you have a great question that we can all talk about together
You
today?
bet. I do. And we're going to start with this question right here. So how have you been staying in front of your customers and your potential customers? Got some ideas on that to want to kickstart, but then I want you guys to hit the chat box and to hit your space bar to chime in on this. One of the ways we can do it is to be the encourager, the one who helps others step out and find the opportunities. Be visible, blog, podcast, email, social media, reposting other interesting business content related to the virus to the people who are your connections. A third one is to be a facilitator. This is one that's actually been very effective for people. Everybody has strategic alliances. There's people that you deal with on a regular basis who actually help you with your business, and you can help them with theirs, and you might trade clients back and forth. So you got these strategic alliances, and we got this idea of helping one of our clients that all of their or most of their business depended on. They're downstream from a whole bunch of other businesses, and they were dependent on those businesses to give them business. So they came up with the idea of having a mastermind group where they just once a week, they all get together for a half hour, 45 minutes and talk about where their businesses are and how they can help each other out. So that's just being a facilitator. And then I love, I think it's Janelle, has a best things today thing she does at 9 o'clock every night. And she just invites anybody and everybody who wants to come on, share the best thing that happened today. You can do happy hours. There's all kinds of things you can do for this sort of thing. And then being the expert, office hours, just saying, hey, I'll be available every Friday morning from 9 to 10. Anybody wants to talk about the kind of stuff that I'm an expert at, do a free webinar, reposting things. Sometimes you don't even have to be the expert. You just repost what others are saying that encourage people and maybe not even business related. And then you can become the funny meme purveyor, which is really more about being different. It's a little bit in both expert. You can be the expert funny guy, or you can just be different and offer what people can't find elsewhere. So my question to you this morning I'd love to get some interaction on this. What else can you be to your clients and potential clients right now? How have you been staying in front of them? Let's swap ideas for people and encourage all of us to think about how, in a situation where you might think you just have to hunker down and wait this out, where we actually should be chasing this rabbit with our clients. So how can we stay in front of them? What else can we do to be something to our clients and potential clients right now? Let's play with that. Who's got some stuff? You can hit the chat box with it if you're really shy, which is nobody on this call, probably. Or you can just.
Oh, it's the people that don't have their video on. Come on.
That's it. Yeah. No, those are the people who are still in their pajamas, which is good. I've got my COVID haircut. It looks okay in the front, but don't look at the back. Like I said, it's my Zoom haircut. Yeah. So what are we doing? Tom Fanning says he hosted his first Zoom team call last week to check in, update, energize, create next steps. Yeah, we so missed the boat in this whole idea of social distancing. Nobody should be social distancing. It's just the worst. Sometimes words matter. Words are powerful. And we should never have called this so. It's physical distancing. That's all it is. We need each other now more than ever. So hosting a Zoom team call, just simple stuff like that to energize and keep people together. Carolyn says, Zoom happy hour with all my clients. Yeah. Well, everyone was invited, but 10 showed up. That's awesome. If there's 3 of you there, that's awesome. We had one last week, and the Porg, I don't know if he's on the call today, but he bought me a very expensive bottle of whiskey and brought it from Ireland. And so I shared that with everybody on my Zoom call. I was incredibly generous.
I kind of do.
How gracious of you.
I know. I was feeling so good about myself. Somebody else had one live?
Yeah, I was going to say that I do video productions, which is more like storytelling, basically. Storytelling with a deeper meaning and purpose rather than just, hey, come and bring me your business kind of thing. So my challenge that runs into is I have this ideas that I want to say, because I don't want to go out and say, hey, bring me your business. That's a different intent. Intent has to be, okay, this is who I am and this is what I can offer. So the idea that is, okay, if from the storytelling perspective, what does really storytelling mean? There are a lot of articles that can be written on that. When you want to tell a story of your business to the world or of your organization or a cause, then what are we really saying there? What is it important there? So my emphasis goes in that direction, that if I speak, I must speak from that places like LinkedIn. Rather than adding to the noise of sending zillion emails, so go to the forums where people can find on their own.
Well, and that's really great, Sanjay, because Bart Moyers made the very same point. Get everybody on your favorite social media platform. Work through that as well. Be the expert through what people are used to seeing you through. I think it's a great example. JR says, my friend and I started a weekly podcast-ish that tell our stories and experiences during the lockdown. I mean, that's just great stuff. Here's what we're learning. Here's what we're experiencing. Here's what happened in our backyard. We had a bobcat walk down our fence in the backyard about 5 feet from our windows, and just sat there and tried to catch squirrels the other day. That's kind of stuff you can make a podcast out of that really easy. Be a resource for people. Cindy says, be a resource for people in your area of expertise. And Bud says, organized a food drive through social media to all of my clients, my neighborhood, and my sphere of influence this past Saturday. I have a full SUV of food that I'll be delivering to the local food bank. Tremendous way to stay in front of your clients.
Done,
yeah, no kidding. Well done. And it's a great example of serve, don't sell. We talk about that all the time. Don't sell people stuff. How do you serve them? If they truly feel like you have their best interest at heart, they're going to buy your stuff if they need it. So that's a great example. Just serve them, serve people around, and go from there.
One of the things I've been doing has nothing to do with really 3 to 5 Club or Crankset, but we have horses and a dog. And so I often go out to the barn and do a Facebook Live or a little video and let people experience creation and animals and the acreage and the beauty that we have, because lots of people are in cities, and it's amazing how many people chime in and they're like, this is the best 2 minutes of my day because I got to be outside. So Take people
Awesome.
for a walk outside with you somewhere.
And we found,
Especially if you're in another place, like in another city, like
Yeah.
you could take us on little tours of your country or your city and we could all learn and enjoy
Yeah.
together.
6 feet apart.
Yeah.
we found a secret here the last couple of months that no matter what you're talking about on social media, if you post a picture of a horse, a dog,
Or
or a baby, you're going to get massive
no matter what the
readership.
topic is.
We're so desperate, aren't we?
Wall clocks. You just put those photos on, you get a huge
Even
followership.
surpasses pictures of food.
That's right.
I think Bud's going to get he's got a twofer here. This is really clever, Bud. Co-sponsor an online weekly trivia contest. And go to your local bar who used to do that kind of thing and get the bar and a couple of vendors to pay for the professional online trivia person to be the host. Awesome idea.
Thanks, Bart.
Yeah,
Good
that
job.
was awesome.
Yeah. Well, that's Bart. Okay, that was Bud. Yeah. No, that's great, Bart. Thank you.
What else have you guys been doing? Chime in.
What I've been doing a lot of is I have a couple of Facebook groups, mainly old business owners, and I keep feeding positive stuff. What's happening, what's new, examples from 3 to 5 Club, examples from here, from our meeting, and just keeping feeding the positive. There's too much negativity out there. Too many people that are feel like giving up, and that's crazy. So we need to focus on getting ahead and how do we get through this. And I think that's working for people as well.
Awesome.
Thanks, John.
My friend,
Wait, Jim Martinez.
Oh, go ahead, Jim.
my friend Jack Gelle, who Tom and Sandy introduced me to, sends out an email called the Daily Ray of Sunshine. And the most interesting to me part of that is there's always a multiple choice trivia question. So probably 2 or 3 days out of the week, I'll see that and respond. And so it gives us a little interaction.
Yeah.
Post some other stuff, a podcast and some other things that other people might find valuable. But for me, I'm just in there working as hard and fast as I can. So one simple trivia question is perfect for me. So
That's awesome.
Keep it simple. That would be another good principle here. Don't overwhelm people to try and get them to react. Keep it
So
simple.
Suzanne also said games online. Yes, people have been playing these really fun Jackbox games on Zoom and
Yeah.
others. So games online and quizzes with networks, family, friends, and my kids' friends. Yeah.
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 You can do it. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, Sandy, we Malcolm and I have taken up that advice that was given to us during the 3 to 5 meeting with the bottleneck that we had, and starting a minute, which is called on Instagram, which is called Coffee with the Coach.
Nice. Coffee with the
We're
coach.
very excited about that. We haven't actually got them all lined up yet, but we've already done a slide with coffee beans and a cup of coffee and coffee with a coach on it, and we put it out there. And now we just got to start assembling the.
What a
I
brilliant
love
idea.
that because
Videos.
their shift story is they were meeting people in coffee shops to get clients. And now that all the coffee shops have been closed, I said, well, go online and do coffee with the coach. And so that's awesome.
Good for you for running with it.
Awesome.
All right. Well, we're right on schedule here. I love it. Love the ideas. We want this to be an encouraging hour. So if you got other things, put them in the chat box for people, and let's encourage each of us to start our day, our weeks well. I think Sandy or Tom, you've got a couple of people you want to highlight here who have really
Yes.
encouraging stories.
We sure
Yeah,
do.
so our first person is Marco DiConsiglio. I don't know if I said that right. Marco's going to
Yeah, it's right.
Di
DiConsiglio.
Consiglio. And Marco, I got to meet because Chuck introduced us. Marco actually got to see Chuck virtually at a conference that Chuck was.
And he came back anyway.
And
The Kibo code.
yeah, the Kivo, yeah. And so we did some coaching on something we have called the Apex Profile, which is a Crankset tool that helps people discover what they're good at in terms of business, and also where they can what they can work on and how they can hire others to fill into those places. And so Marco and I got to know each other, and I love it because Marco's the guy I talked about last week that went from gelato to gadgets and now kind of back to gelato. So welcome, Marco. I can't wait
Thanks.
to come to Barcelona and eat that delicious gelato, and you might have to come here and and create some shops in the US.
Yeah,
So welcome.
why not?
Tell us quickly, your little shift story of going from gelato to gadgets and back to gelato.
Yeah.
And Marco, you're in where? Barcelona?
Barcelona, but I am Italian.
Okay.
And I'm married with an Israeli girl.
Yeah, that sounds very European of you.
Okay, so this is of a small family shop, and we came here in Barcelona 14 years ago. We worked very hard to build this Italian gelato artisan shop, and it was nice because I was arriving to what Chuck called the level 6 of a business owner. And suddenly in one day, we went from 1 million revenue to 0.
Wow.
So this is a hard, it was hard, but it was nice because I like to call my self-awareness gave me the opportunity in December 2019 to start a new business, which Chuck knows well, which is the Kibo Code. It's an online business. So I really started just before the lockdown and before all that happened. So now I found myself with 2 businesses, but they don't really run the 100% because now with the gelato shop, we have to start again from 0, and the new business, it's struggling to get, in shape, let's say. But also this new business, which is something really different from what I make. So it was also difficult to start with all this new online, and I felt like a hacker because I had to do all sort of stuff, on the internet, which I love internet, but this was really specific.
Marco, we call that a bad plan carried out violently.
Yeah.
And Marco, who did you get to help you during this time of launching an online business? Please tell us.
The funny thing is that I have a son, which was when he now is 16, and when he was 14, he was drop shipping, and I was really not happy with that. I wanted him to learn. He's a good student. He likes to learn, but I was saying to him, look, I don't think this is for you. Don't tell me why. I think it's a father protection or whatever. But now that I started the new business, I couldn't go ahead without him helping me. So now I found myself, I asked him, you can come and help me because all this dropship thing, I need help, and he's helping me. So we have a new small 2-people business running now. So,
Very
and
cool.
also this new way of thinking to online give me some more vision and more opportunity to things that I can do with the gelato store. So open my view also in other aspect of the old business, let's say.
That's awesome. One thing I loved about meeting with you is no matter what was happening, you just kept saying, I'm a learner. I'm going to learn. I'm going to learn some more. I'm going to learn more. You're never too old to learn. So we so appreciate you being on here. And please put your contact information in the chat box, Marco.
Yeah, sure.
So people can email you and we can figure out how to get gelato wherever we live, because it's the best thing ever in the world.
And I just want to chime in on what you just said about what Marco's experiencing. For all of us guys, this is the seminal response that we have to have to this crisis. There are 2 statements that govern everybody's lives. One is a question, one is a statement. 2 sentences. Sentence number 1, I can't do that. You're done. Henry Ford, whether you think you can, you think you can't, you're right. Sentence number 2 is a question. How do I do that? And 2 people faced with the same experience. I'm guessing there are other gelato shops around, maybe probably even in Barcelona, but certainly around the world that just shut down and hunkered down because they can't do this. And Marco, you said, how do I do this? And now you got two businesses running. So this has got to be our response, folks. We have got to respond to this with, how do I do this? The grief is real. All that's real. Get it. But then you've got to move to, how do I get this done? How do I get where I need to go? What's the next great thing that I will uncover and discover because of this? Where's my rising phoenix? So just wanted to emphasize that. Just awesome. Great response, Marco.
Thanks, Chuck. Our next spotlight really lives that out. You'll hear a story in just a second. Dave Puente is a sought after photographer and filmmaker. His work takes him all around the world, working with some of the most recognized men and women in the world. Curiosity and wild imagination fuel his most passionate work. Dave loves to capture people in a way they've never seen themselves before. I'd like to work with you directly, Dave. Maybe
Let's do it
sometime.
Yeah.
So like us, just recently, his email stopped coming in and the phone stopped ringing. And he was faced with the same challenge most of us are. And so he made a shift, and we're going to hear about that, to what he calls the portrait project, which really captured my eye. When I saw that, I went, what the heck is that? And that's where I found Dave's story online. And Dave, thanks so much for joining us today.
I spelled it out in the chat section, but thanks for having me.
You betcha. So I got to interview Dave the other night a little bit and got really excited about his story. You made a couple shifts here. You made a shift in the last downturn, right? And launched your business. Tell us a little bit about that real quick.
You mean 2009?
Yes.
Yeah. 2009, I was in, my idea of success was putting on a suit and tie on the way to work, right? And just being seen as that sort of beacon of business. And that wasn't working out in my soul. It wasn't who I was. And so 2009 was a difficult yet liberating time. I had walked away from what I knew to be success and created my own body camera with the little savings I had. And in 6 months, I had my income back.
Awesome. In 6 months, that's really quick turnaround.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Real fast. And I learned that when you align yourself with what you're good at and you enjoy doing and you naturally share with people in an authentic way, anything can happen.
So I want to encourage you, because you don't really understand Dave till you see his work. So you can go to Dave Puente, PUENTE.com, and check out his gallery. And he's a filmmaker as well, very talented. But so Dave, you're chugging along with this new business, and then what happened?
Yeah, well, March 18th specifically, I remember, or 17th, I remember looking at my email and just being like, there was nothing, crickets. And that was a scary time because I'm used to traffic, social media, emails, conversation, connection. I'm a connector, and it just, that was daunting, right? It had nothing to do with like money coming in or business on the books. It was just the fact that I wasn't hearing from anybody that made me a little bit fearful. It was at that time when I thought of two things. I could adjust and try to get in front of people with a business proposition or idea, but I quickly resigned to how can I give back in this time to people who are at home just like me, maybe even more scared, sick, vulnerable, and just give from what I had, which was time and my craft. And it was from that point where my pivot was just visiting people in their homes from 20 feet away, forget 6 feet from the sidewalk, and taking their family pictures, taking their firstborn pictures, their first birthday, whatever it is, their 50th anniversary, just given. And to date, we're approaching 300 households, free pictures.
Amazing. It's we found in this time that generosity is the currency. And you could have just hunkered down and said, holy cow, I got to pull back, I got to reserve, I can't give away. But we've just found a golden thread through so many people's lives that we've interviewed is that they've chosen to give of themselves and of their substance and it's really, it's really paid off. So what's happened with your business?
Yeah. We haven't charged. That's been the integrity of this whole thing. But the first response in 4 days, we had national and international news coverage, CBS, NBC, obviously the whole, my whole state, which is Minnesota. And they couldn't get enough of it. I was hearing from photographers from Barcelona, Vancouver, UK, Brazil, everybody looking for me for advice to do this in their communities. And so, that's a good business income was a different thing. It was still quiet as far as business was, but we were seeing, Chuck, to what you were saying, as the leader in something, a source of good news, right? And a place where people can turn their head to get for a brighter spot in their day. We had just sent out, people are asking now for photo shoots. How can we get this? How can we work with you after this? We have so-and-so planned. We'd love to have you. We just created a way, at least from the consumer ends, not so much the commercial, but for them to reach out for us and get a great value on a session, on a family portrait session, a headshot portrait session down the road when the governor says we can. And within 22 minutes, we had 75 responses of interest. And see now, and that's the important thing, is when you do something from in a place of charity, you may not always be making income immediately, but what you're doing is building brand ambassadors. I know that I can go back to the thousands of emails, the brand new emails that we've gotten in the last week or 2 weeks from this coverage, and ask them for a favor, and they're going to come through. And it may not be that I'm the best photographer in the world or the only option that they have or the most economical, but they are bought in to our mission. And that's the big thing. I mean, if anybody, so many times we have ideas and we have things we stand for, but it doesn't stand up against what we see on social media, these big ideas, these bright, shiny images and things that other people are doing. But I thought the same thing about a picture of somebody on their porch during a pandemic, right? I almost talked myself out of it. And it's important not to do that, because there's a lot of people who would see your ordinary as extraordinary. And a lot of times it may not define business success as you defined it, but it is the best thing you could be doing. For me, it was building brand ambassadors, whether I knew it or not, and it's paid dividends.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Of sowing and reaping. I'm sorry, did I miss it?
Yeah, you're muted.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for modeling that kind of behavior, because we found that as well. Even in the worst times, we just invest in other people. It just comes back somewhere else.
And I just want to throw in too for Dave and Marco, specifically today, since you were so great in sharing your story. We're launching the new Get Off the Treadmill podcast for business leaders. And it's just our way of giving back and highlighting people who are living well by doing good in the world, and a chance for us to highlight your business to others. So I'd love to get you on that show, and any others willing to tell your shift stories and how you've pivoted, would love to talk to you as well. So specifically the two of you, because you were courageous enough and willing enough to spend your time to come on this morning. Would really love to do that. And you can contact us both to get on this show and tell your shift story, as well as recommend someone, do a bottleneck, get support by going to grow at 325club.com, grow at the number 3TO, the number 5club.com. And I put that in the chat box as well. I encouraged everybody to put your contact information. If you have a question about something, talk to us in the chat box today as well.
One real quick, I just wanted to point you to, Tanya jumped on after we shifted into a different part of the show, but I love this. She's a dog trainer. She's been doing Toenail Tuesdays to help people keep their dog's toes in top shape, which I want to take a look at. And she also does a free dog tricks class, or maybe it's a people tricks class on Mondays. So her contact information is in the chat box too.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Our dog thinks our whole life changed.
She thinks we stayed home because of her. Yeah. So we're moving into the bottleneck section, and the bottleneck section of everything we do in 3 to 5 Club or on here is a chance for you to have the help of wisdom of crowd. So if you have an issue, opportunity, challenge, something great that's coming up that, you know, we've had businesses flourish during this time. I had a friend say, I don't know what to do with all the business I'm getting. So that became a bottleneck.
And we need that.
Yeah, and we need you to tell those stories too of how your business is flourishing to give the rest of us hope. And many of you whose businesses really are flourishing are finding amazing ways to give back as well. So Kim with 10 Wood Lodge was on from Ithaca, New York. My aunt lives in Ithaca, Kim. And so we want Kim to come on, and we did a bottleneck last week with you, Kim, and were you able to implement an idea or two? So quickly fill us in.
Well, we've been having a great time in our place, which is very distant from neighbors and from town. And so I was really encouraged to make the most of my resources. And I'm in the midst of revamping my COVID-19 page on my website and updating my list of people for the Cornell area and the Ithaca College folks, and also reaching out to people in New York City to try. I really appreciate, was it you, Sandy, who said it? The isolation destination.
Oh, I think I don't know, we had a person on that actually does that. So I don't know that I did, or maybe Jim or Tom, but yeah, there's somebody that calls their Airbnbs isolation destinations.
Yep. Well, so I'm working on a social media campaign. Technically, we're essential businesses, so we don't need to close, but we've had no business because New York State is pretty much shut down. So anyway, it's a juggling thing. I have been focusing on doing some things around town, around the house that I needed to do, and I'm trying to get out and get ready for business.
That's awesome.
Excellent. Great, Kim. Thanks for the update.
You know, it's summertime for road trips, and Ithaca's not that far away from beautiful Niagara Falls. So great place to go visit on a road trip. So thanks, Kim. And so we want to invite you, our audience today, who has a bottleneck, and here's how we say that. Of the millions of bottlenecks that we have in business, which one would you like to bring today, right? Because we always have something we can grow with or work on. So who's got a bottleneck today? And we want you to speak up. This is not in the chat box. This is real live. The way it works is we give you a minute to tell us what that is, 2 minutes for us to ask questions, and 3 minutes where you don't say anything and we just rain great ideas on you.
Yeah, this needs to be a safe place where you feel like you can share things and you know, you got to have somewhere where you can share the tough stuff and get the questions answered. So we just had a bunch of encouraging stories of people who have shifted and pivoted, and there's a lot of people out there who haven't quite made that transition yet, or still wanting to, and we'd love to help you with that. Or it's just a bottleneck. In some cases, a bottleneck is something really encouraging, like I have too many clients. We're going to have somebody on like that in the next couple of weeks. But love to have one of you just step up here and take advantage of the wisdom of crowds. This is the most valuable 5 minutes in this show, and you should take advantage of it.
So who's going to be our first bottleneck? Get the Courage Award today.
I could go.
Great. We got one.
All right. Mine is really not a bottleneck, but it's just a more of an internal challenge that I have, which I can't seem to overcome. So I took this time now that I don't have the rush to go out and do the business thing or whatever. So there's a time. So I do video productions, which is basically telling visual stories. Plus, I'm also writing feature-length movie script. So my mind kind of goes only in one direction at one time. And when I am writing script, that's all I want to do. So my inner energy goes, oh gosh, I gotta just finish this. I gotta go spend more time. So which can take a lot of time. And then I don't do anything on the external side of the business, which is creative work for the organizations, which is telling visual stories for the businesses or organizations. So, which is another total full-on focus. So when I do that, then I don't go toward the script writing. So ideally, what I would like to do is that I can do both, and some other operational stuff that you have to do with the finance and all the stuff. So I can continue to do that each week in some kind of consistent fashion. So that's my challenge is. I can't seem to get myself be consistent.
So you're probably the only one, Sanjay, that ever
Yeah,
had.
you should feel very alone.
So we're going to spend 2 minutes now to unmute yourself or stick in the chat box, clarifying questions, things we're going to, and Sanjay, we want you to respond, but respond as quickly as you can so we can get as many questions as we can.
And no
okay?
no recommendations yet. No cleverly disguised recommendations.
Yep.
Just let's make sure we understand his bottleneck.
Sanjay, could I ask then, are you passionate about both of those main focuses, like creating scripts and also creating stories for clients? So you're passionate about both of those, am I right? Yeah, you're on mute, but anyway. And yeah, I guess also, I don't know if I'm right, but it sounds like the other stuff, like the admin, has to be done, but that's quite boring. It's not really where you want to spend your time, but it has to be done. Am I right?
I'm sorry, what was the last thing you said?
The other general admin stuff, I guess, is something that has to be done, but it's not something you're passionate about.
Yeah, I don't enjoy that. But to answer your other question, I'm absolutely passionate about doing creative storytelling and feature-length script writing. They're both the same, basically.
Okay, thanks.
Another question.
Do you see both as important? Do you see both of them as?
How have you in the past delegated things that you didn't find were your pocket?
In the past, if I had an external deadline, then that takes a focus. But now I don't have external deadlines.
Why don't you have external deadlines?
Well, I don't have anything to deliver to anybody.
One last question.
Sanjay, do you keep a time schedule allotting where you focus your time depending on which of the things you need to be working on?
I plan, but I don't.
Okay, so now we get 3 minutes and Sanjay's muted, so he gets to just listen. And this is recorded, Sanjay, so you'll be able to go back and listen. And we're going to give you 3 minutes to just wisdom of clouds, brainstorm, what great ideas, anything goes, and go.
I'm going to speak for Bart Morris because he put a question, but Sanjay, the suggestion is find out what the competitors are dealing with this and see how they're managing this. Somebody else.
And I'm going to throw in here to talk to Dave, because I think what Dave does in terms of photography storytelling, right? I mean, photography is storytelling in many ways, and he's serving, not selling, and giving away, which could create some external deadlines for you. Give some small stuff away.
So I think it's a great opportunity now to learn how to, it's Stephen Covey's quadrant 1, the urgent, versus quadrant 2, the important that may not be urgent. You have no urgent now, so you can grow that muscle of working on the things that are important that aren't urgent. And as far as how to do it, I mean, the one thing I heard you say was you wish you could do all 3 during the same week. Why? Why not do one week, one the next week, and the other one the third week? Give yourself a whole week to be in the flow and getting it done, if I'm understanding your problem right, or maybe one day for each.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was going to play off of that and say, give yourself a whole day to do, and put yourself in different places. Have a place where you do the one, and then have an entirely different place that you do the other. Maybe different rooms in your house, or a park for one and a pond at the other, or whatever. But I would make that division very quick, or very, very clear, and block out entire time blocks of time to do it, because you're just switching back and forth is so unproductive.
And I love what Carolyn said. Who do you care about the most, and how could you maybe go help them tell their story in a way that perpetuates what they do? Start with those people. We've got time chunking, focus on where your strengths are, what you love the most. If script writing or storytelling brings the most revenue or future revenue, then focus on one at a time. So again, a lot of people around getting this idea around and, not or, right? The genius of the and, not the tyranny of the or.
I have the same issue in that admin generally doesn't excite me. But what I've learned to do, there are certain areas of my business that I'm very passionate about. And what I do is I put a chunk of time into dealing with the stuff that I call boring crap. And then I reward myself with spending time on the stuff that I'm enjoying. And I'm finding I get a nice balance and I feel like I'm making progress.
You know, there's a lot of people out there who are bored right now and are looking for things to do, or maybe don't have deadlines like you, that are really great in the areas that you're not. Go find them and collaborate together.
Great. Yeah.
Hey, so
Thanks, Sanjay.
Sanjay, we'd like to invite you back next week. And thanks for putting your contact to tell us if any of these ideas work for you, because we always want to follow up on bottlenecks. Thank you.
Thank you.
So how are we for time, Chuck?
We're doing okay.
Okay, so we have time for another bottleneck?
No.
No. Thank you. So you can see we're real here. Like, it's not all scripted. It always is a bad plan. We're not a bad plan, but it's always a bad plan carried out.
Exactly.
So Chuck, back to you. We talked already about signing up to be featured, but what's going on with the Surthrival Guide and other tips for people?
Yeah, so we just want people to be reminded that the Surthrival Guide is out there. You can grab it at risingphoenix.com is one place to get it. On the home page, which I'm not on, but on the home page right up here at the top, you can see a button here. Download your free Surthrival Guide, funding guide, and that'll take you to the bottom, and you can get your email in there and find that. We're in version 7. In the next couple of days, we're going to come out with a very well updated version on how to use PPP loans, but also things on mortgages and other things on just how to cope with the mental and emotional stress coming through this. So this isn't just about money. It's a guide that is going to continue to be updated for probably a few months as we continue to roll through this thing. We want to make sure you've got the most current information, which is why we ask for your email. And that way we can just send it out to you as the new version comes. So no spamming, no other purposes for that, just to make it easy for you to grab this thing every time we have the most current version.
We're already getting questions from people that are actually doing very well during this time around looking for opportunity of things to invest in also. So, you know, as we continue to learn things and as we continue to meet people, you know, we're going to continue to provide valuable information on helping you gain more market share and take advantage of what's out there, both publicly and privately. So always go in there and put in your email, because then you always get the latest version. So Tom, want to say something about 3 to 5 clubs today?
Certainly. This is the closest thing you'll get to a plug. And one of the services we offer at the Crankset Group is what's called 3 to 5 clubs, where we gather up to 24 business owners together in some form like this. And there's built on three pillars, and that's community, connection, and content. And the content is, from my perspective, the equivalent of over 2 years of a master's in business management and leadership, but it's all hands-on, contrary to a bunch of theory. The other aspect is significant connection and support. If you like this, you'd really like the connection and support that you get in a 3 to 5 club, because it's very personalized. People start looking out for one another and finding ways to help each other grow our businesses. We joined a 3 to 5 club in 2010 when our business was tanking. We're in a real estate company. And we just thought, this is crazy doing anything that we're spending money on, but we were spending money on all kinds of crap that was not getting us any kind of return. So we made the leap. We had the following 9 months, we had our best year ever in real estate. Still, I think the best year as far as acceleration. Paid off about $90,000 in debt that we had accumulated in the previous year of tanking real estate industry. So anyways, we're big adherents and big supporters of 3 to 5. And you can find the 3 to 5 Club link right on the Rising Phoenix site,
Yep.
or just simply go to 3to5club.com.
Yep. And if you're a member of a 3 to 5 Club, you might want to pop in there what it's done for you, because, people are like, oh yeah, that's you guys talking about it, because you're running it and stuff like that, which is part of the reason, but not all of the reason, because we're totally serve, don't sell. And we've always been that way. And especially right now, we're just like, come be a guest, come check it out, come hang out with us, come find out how it's worth, what would be worth to you. And I got some messages yesterday from from India, from London, and from Italy around 3 to 5 Clubs. So there are people all around the world looking for community. And I was just telling Chuck and Tom and Megan on our prep call that the Dr. Hyman, the functional medicine doctor at Cleveland Clinic, at their functional medicine, because of his work with Rick Warren in California on disease, ended up putting patients into groups to solve their obesity and chronic fatigue and health issues together. And after 10 weeks, most of those people who were very, very sick didn't even have to see a doctor. So what does community do for us? It accelerates everything we do. So we'd love to have you visit us. You can go at grow@3to5club.com, or we put our contact information in there and be part of that. So, hey, Chuck, we got some people coming on.
Yeah, we do. We're excited. Coming forward, we got in the coming weeks. Tracy Fenton has agreed to come on. We got to get that scheduled. She's the founder of World Blue, which is a democratic. It's an organization that promotes democratization in business, and just including getting more inclusive about the way we run businesses. I think she's got some encouraging things to say with companies, large and small corporations all over the world that are responding to this thing. And then we've got a restaurant owner. We're going to bring on a restaurant owner who has been so busy that we can't get them on the show. They're flat out. They have been all of March. March was their March was a tough month. April was their best month ever, and they're just continuing to kill it here in May. So we want to bring them on because of all the professions or occupations that you could think of, there couldn't possibly be anybody in restaurants that's doing well. They figured some things out, took some simple steps. And so we're going to bring them on as well. So we're excited about that. And then there's a few other people. You want to talk about Catherine?
Yeah, so Catherine Haddon with Sparkativity. She talks about creativity in our work and in our lives is going to be on. She and Chuck got to meet and we brainstormed around lots of fun ideas. She's going to come on next week and be featured. And I think your friend Tim, who's going to make us laugh, is going to come on in the future weeks too.
Yeah,
right?
Tim Gard, a professional, not comedian, but a professional humorist, and one of the top. He's one of 5 people who have ever gotten the biggest award recognition from the National Speakers Association. So he's a world-class dude. And once he takes over at the beginning and does his thing on the COVID deal, I'll probably never be able to post another funny because it just won't be funny.
So if you have somebody in your life or some story you read or somebody that you're connecting with that would be great, something you want to hear, we just need to know. So, let us know at grow@3to5club.com. Who are those people?
We wrap up every show with what we call BFO. It's a blinding flash to the obvious or an aha,
Or
a takeaway from today. So you can unmute yourself, jump in. This is a place for a sentence, not a paragraph, or you can just drop it in the chat box. Love to hear your feedback.
Yeah. So what are you taking today, John?
I'll give one. Yeah, one for me was the "Are you an I can't do this" or a "How will I do this" kind of guy, and I've always been the latter. So thanks for that. Thanks for reminding me.
Thank you. Okay, well, that's a wrap.
No, it isn't.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
Funny, Ellison, I have a sentence to say after what Dave was saying about he wasn't sure if he was the best photographer or whatever. I didn't realize this 10 years ago when I was trying to promote a new business, but most people just need a name. Like I'm an engineer and sometimes I have to do a new thing I'm not familiar with. Like I had to design a playground and I don't have time to research all the playground equipment. I just want to have one name to put in on my plans and then the owner can change it or whatever. So if you get your name out and you're the person that does videos, then when people need that, they're going to call you. So just getting your name out is an important thing you could do right now.
Thanks, Connie.
And Kim's taken away, hey, what was our primary passion in the business to begin with? Did I get off track? Back to the basics.
I love the aligning yourself with what you enjoy and what you're good with or good at.
Awesome. Thank you.
And Chris, serve, don't sell.
And Marco mentioned about always be a learner.
It's a biggie. Thank you.
I think, Marco, you need to have t-shirts made that say eat more gelato and buy some gadgets.
And some gadgets in the back.
Love the positive message, like-minded connection. We'll get through this together. Yes, mastermind groups. Find alternative ways to connect with people. I'm reading out the chats.
I also, thanks Tom for reminding me of Colonel Sanders. He was a bulldog and so am I. So persistence pays off.
There's hope. That's right.
Be relentless. That's our other t-shirt.
That's
Be
right.
relentless.
Be relentless.
Very cool.
One more.
Who's got one more?
Hey, I like what Dave said, building brand ambassadors. And that's kind of an offshoot of serve, not sell. I think that's brilliant. Kind of a sub part of being a lumberjack.
Uh-huh.
Thanks, Dave. You have a word for us about community?
So yes, so as we end every show about how important community is, we say, it doesn't matter if you're in our community, but well, it kind of does to me, but it matters that you're in community, like deeply in community. And this is a time where community matters more than ever. Many years ago, my mom was diagnosed with throat cancer. And the surgeon said, take out her voice box and get your affairs in order. You have stage 4 throat cancer. She decided not to do that. She decided to get chemo and radiation and eat healthy and live differently. And in that process, she said, I can't go through this alone. My dad had already passed. There were 6 of us kids, so we were her community. But she said, I want to make this matter. And she started the very first cancer support group in Burlington, Wisconsin, in the little town I grew up with. Just featured in the newspaper. People for years talked about how she'd impacted their lives because she was willing to say, I need you too. And so it's that time too where we need to say, I need you too, and to be honest about that, and to both lift one another up and really celebrate one another in this time, and really look and dig for ways to help and build community. And that can be virtual, that can be in your neighborhood, that can be in your family. It's all over. It's right there for us. So do something to enhance community for yourself and others this week.
And by the way, she beat the cancer and
She
lived many long years
fact,
and lived a very highly productive life.
Yeah, many years later, they said, we can't even find the scar tissue. And
that's exciting.
She looked at community as being a big part of that to help her through. So what can we do?
Thanks so much for making this part of your day. We hope we've given you a little inspiration and challenge. We hope you got something to kick in the pants. That's what I need on Monday mornings to get off going the right way. And thanks, Chuck, for your participation.
And I'd love to see if anybody's got a quote to send us out. It's always great to just get one little true north sending us out. Who's got something that they were reminded of today that would be beneficial to all of us? Who's got a simple little quote?
While you're thinking, I'm just going to say this, Chuck. I've said it all week. We only learn by staying disoriented.
Yeah, that's the one we've been throwing around. Adults don't learn unless we're disoriented. Maybe we can just go with that one. Adults don't learn unless we're disoriented. If that's true, we're learning a lot.
And Tom Fanning, you should have just jumped on here, said the obstacle is the way, right? Albert Einstein, in the middle of adversity.
Yeah, and And here's the book. The obstacle is the way.
Somebody ought to write a book about that. Oh, there it is.
Somebody should write a book about that.
Hey, one more thing. Will you guys look for somebody that you would invite to this call next week? It could be a manner of saving their life.
I was on a call on Saturday morning where a gentleman was reporting that he has lost 4 business associates because they chose suicide as the way out. They had lost hope. We hope that we can offer hope to people with your stories and your participation and a sense of community. So
be a hope giver.
We all have those people in our life. All they need is an invitation. Thanks again. Have an awesome week.
Thanks, guys. Have a great rest of your week. Let's go out and be encouraged.
Stay in touch.
Thank you all.
Be encouragers.
Here's a hug.
Virtual, but better than nothing.
Yeah.